All right, coming in at number 4 on our 2023 NHL draft rankings, could he be more talented than his draft ranking puts him at? It's Matvey Michkov out of the KHL with Sochi. Now, he was loaned to Sochi from CSKA Moscow. They were playing him as other young prospects in the KHL. The Daniel Yurov from last year,
Yeah,
where
oh
he
man.
played 20 games but sat on the bench and didn't play for 19 of them. But with Matvey Michkov, all he needed to do, shocker, was play games to put up points.
Yeah, I mean that it's hard to put up points if you're not playing games. The age old problem, Ross. But with the Michkov, I mean, this guy is so goddamn talented. Like I honestly think Ross in my rankings, he's number 2, and we'll get to it. There's one caveat to Michkov that will slide him down teams lists in a mock draft style setting, but overall, he's just so skilled. He's able to do it all. And the term I find most people using for Michkov, Ross, David St. Louis from EP used it. Corey Pronman used this term, is he is a finisher. This guy is able to get the puck into dangerous areas and finish. And like most Russians, Ross, he plays on his off wing. He's a left shot playing only on the right wing. And he's got a lethal shot. And he may be a little selfish in the goal scoring aspect, tunnel vision, being like, I'm going to the net and I'm shooting this puck. But when you score and when you're talented like Michkov, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. And with Sochi, where he played the final part of the season, he was able to show that skill that we had seen at younger age groups against men at 17 years old. He had 9 goals, 11 assists, good for 20 points in 27 games, had 14 penalty minutes as well. Pilsy, that bottom ticker, if you're watching on YouTube, is the reason why he won't be a top 3 pick.
It's the reason why he probably won't be a top 3 pick, because he is signed in the KHL for 3 more years. Now, that can be a positive and a negative. Some of these teams that are in the top 5, they don't want to be good right now. So if you have a little future asset that's going to come in 3 years, and you've drafted and developed players, and you can just put them right into your lineup, similar to Kirill Kaprizov, that can be a huge benefit. But a lot of these teams, their fan bases would not be too happy if you get a top 5 pick and you're not going to see anything from him for the next couple of years. And Ross, I say see anything from him because it's very hard to get any video of any KHL players. Most of Michkov's video analysis is done from tournament games. So it's exciting, but also you got to be patient.
The mythical creature. The new one, Matvey Michkov. Yeah, he's so smooth. And you mentioned Kirill Kaprizov, who put up 27 goals and 51 points in 55 games. But right, he came over as a 23-year-old. Yeah, 23. Yep. Man, Michkov coming over at 21. Like, where can I put money on him to win the Calder already for that year?
For real. Yeah, good call at FanDuel.com. Hopefully we'll be right on that.
He is so nasty. I'd say he probably has to put a little more build on. He's 172 pounds, but some outlets have him at 148. So who knows? Put him somewhere in the middle there. I don't know if he's attending the scouting combine. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. I mean, top 5 pick. It would be pretty good to get him in the mix with the other prospects here. And by next week, we'll update as we go along here with the height, weight, because they'll all kind of put their vitals in and all that. But you mentioned that the left shot, and as a finisher, we see that in Ottawa with Alex DeBrincat. Like, it just makes it that much quicker to get your one-timer off and get yourself into shooting areas. And this guy, like, his breakaway moves, like, he's more than just a finisher on, like, the sense of, you think of finishers, guys who just kind of stand in that Ovechkin spot to kind of bring it back to the Russian angle there. But no, this guy can finish around the net. He can finish up with distance. He's got a lethal shot. He can dangle. And that's why Scott Wheeler has him at number 2. That's the high of anyone on our ranking board. We have 7 different entities that we use. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see them all right now. Bob McKenzie has him ranked 5th. And Bob McKenzie's is always interesting because that's based off of scouts. That's like, hey, that's more so where would you take this guy? Whereas the others are more of a rankings where they see the finished product where they think he's going to be. Craig Button has him at 4th. Corey Pronman has him at 3rd. Rachel Dory has him at 3rd. Chris Peters and Elite Prospects all have him at fourth. That's good for an average of 3.6, which actually ties him with Leo Carlsson, who we have at third. So we pretty much have a coin flip at number 3. But again, you probably don't think that with the 3-year wait period, some of these GMs, Magic Johnson, Verbal Meme, are going to be like, I ain't going to be here when this guy is actually able to contribute to the team.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But Ross, when he gets here, I mean, I would say Michkov's top skill for me is his stick handling. Like, I watched David St. Louis from Elite Prospects does a film room study on a lot of these guys. I highly recommend watching all of those. His on Michkov was great. And just watching him he does that inside out move through defenders so often. Like, he has so much confidence with that. And he can pull off any move. He can do the lacrosse goal, and he uses these moves to make up for his lack of speed. He's not the fastest guy out there, but he's so creative. He doesn't need to blow by you. He'll just deke through you. And when you watch him on the power play, he's so patient, and defenders are trying to figure him out. And he just pulls so many dipsy doodle moves around him. It drives them crazy. And then, so what happens is one defender will go on him. He'll pull a move. Then another defender will go on him. He'll pull a move. And then both those defenders are like, screw this. Let's both attack him. And then when they both come towards him, he just passes it off to a teammate that's now wide open. So I think Michkov's experience in the KHL is like, it's a really good development league if you want a player that can pop right into the NHL. Like, if you don't want to waste time in the AHL, or you want a guy that's has experience playing up against men, if you can have years of KHL experience, that makes the transition to the NHL much easier, in my opinion. So there's so much value here. It's just, it's 3 years. You got to wait 3 years for this. And in my opinion, Ross, I think it's worth it. I think the team that does get him 10 years from now, we're going to be laughing that other teams passed him up because they had to wait 3 years, when you can get generational talent for a long time if you make this decision.
And I love this from Chris Peters with Flow Hockey. While Bedard has the best shot in the draft, Michkov may have the best understanding of how to score. He outthinks goalies and opposing defenses and is always in an attack position in the offensive zone. He's a weapon. If you have to kind of sum it, he's a weapon. He's going to score, he's going to beat you, and he's going to do it 100 different ways. Then what are the scouts saying? I love this from Scott Wheeler as well with The Athletic. Michkov is the best Russian prospect since Alex Ovechkin and Evgeny Malkin back in 2004. On talent, upside, and pedigree, his game checks all 3 boxes. Peters continues by saying he's an offensive genius who has among the best hockey sense in this class. Michkov was long believed to be the biggest threat to Bedard for number 1. Like, that's how good this kid is. Pilsy, where do you think is the perfect landing spot in the top 10, let's say? Because if he gets past the top 5, there will be some GMs who are ridiculed online, if not fired, in the years to come when Michkov does come over. Where do you see the perfect landing spot for Matvei Michkov?
Yeah, if he doesn't get picked in the top 5, Ross, I can even see some GMs trading up. Like, I could see that happen. I'm not saying this is going to happen or it's likely, but in my mind, I really see the Arizona Coyotes selecting Michkov, because right now their future is up in the air big time.
They also have 2 top 15 picks, right? They have Ottawa's pick at 12.
Exactly. And they have talented guys like Gunther, Cooley. There's so many, or wait, is it Cooley there or Geeky?
No,
yeah.
Both.
Okay. Oh, both. Okay. I was like, is it one of those guys or the other? But it's both. So that makes sense. And yeah, then you got Clayton Keller and Nick Schmaltz, like so much talent there. But the thing is, this team's not really interested in being good right now. And having a flashy top prospect play at Mullet Arena when, let's be honest, you're like, this team's moving to Salt Lake City soon. So why not, if you're the franchise, have a shiny toy to be like, hey, Salt Lake City, you want us, and you're going to it seems that's where this is going to go. By the time we're ready to move there, we can just plop an NHL-ready generational talent player onto this roster. So I think they're the team that it makes most sense, that 3-year wait is not an issue at all. If anything, I'll say that's a positive.
I'm thinking that the San Jose Sharks might go out with a big swing Now, Locked On Sharks, JD does some great draft coverage as well, and I think he's shown that Mike Greer's had some statements in the media where I think it's kind of leaning towards the fact that they wouldn't take the risk on that.
Yeah.
But I think that would be such a good fit for him, right? Because they have those bad contracts kind of still on the books, a few of them. I know they got rid of a couple as well, but it would almost be the perfect time for them to be transitioning to be a better team at that point, because they're still in the selling off assets phase of their rebuild. Whereas when they come back, then all of a sudden, boop, plop them in. And Matvei Michkov, I think he's going to be a consistent 40-goal guy in the National Hockey League, and that might even be underselling him. Could be a consistent 100-point guy realistically with the way that he sniffs the net and tries to get pucks in. So I'm really confident that whichever team takes the swing is going to hit an eventual home run with Matvei Michkov.